All right, so since I watched so many movies in 2024, I thought I should make another top 10 list. I kind of went back and forth on what I should even call this list. I was originally with like biggest surprises, but I mean, The Substance and Strange Darling were my biggest surprises because I didn't know anything about those films and they ended up being my number one and number two of the year. So, biggest surprises didn't really work. This is more of like 10 films you probably didn't see that I think are, at least in my opinion, worth your time. These were completely overlooked films. Now, one or two of them for sure, some of you have seen, and I've talked about every single one. I, of course, reviewed every single one of these on the channel. So, hopefully a lot of you have heard of every one of them. But regardless, I feel like these either got talked about for a minute or they just did not get talked about at all. This isn't going to be in any kind of order, but I just wanted to throw 10 more films I feel needed more attention than they got in 2024. So, number one is The Invisible Raptor. Now, typically with like these jokey titles, Graveyard Shark and whatnot, which I also watched this year, the Velocipaster, and any kind of quirky, goofy, especially like dinosaur themed title, I usually roll my eyes at and don't check out because the movies end up never being as clever or as funny as the title or the poster or whatever would normally suggest. But with the Invisible Raptor, this was one that I was sent a screen or two, and I was gonna skip it, but I don't know. I just felt compelled to throw it on just to see. I try to give things at least a fair shake, give them at least 5 to 10 minutes to win me over. I did not watch a trailer to my memory. Maybe I did. I watched almost 300 films. And man, was I just blown away by how clever and funny I actually thought this movie was. I thought the performances were very good for the comedy that it was. I thought that all of the in jokes at like Jurassic Park and other things really landed very well. I really liked our main lead character, and I feel like it's one that, with the title that it has, it might not get the attention that it will ever deserve. And that I felt was a shame. So I wanted to mention it here, and I wanted to mention it first because I do think it is a extremely overlooked film, mostly due to a very silly title, but it it applies. It is literally about an invisible raptor, and I just had a blast watching it. I really, really had a good time. I laughed a whole lot. So I recommend the hell out of it, obviously. All right, next up, we have a zombie film called Die Alone. This one has Carrie Ann Moss as well as Frank Grillo. I gave this one a massive praising when I reviewed it months ago. I threw this on thinking that it would just be kind of typical direct to DVD, get a couple known actors in some throwaway secondary roles, throw them on the poster, and you can make a quick buck. But no, this one was not that at all. Carrie Ann Moss was definitely a lead character, and Frank Grillo's part was important to the movie. He isn't in it a whole ton, but man, I thought this was such a unique zombie film. I thought this was probably the most unique zombie film and probably my favorite zombie film of the entire year. There wasn't a lot of them, to be honest, but man, there was a slew of really cool, unique zombie films for a while there, and they kind of died off. And I felt like this fell in line with that slate of titles that we had gotten maybe 5 years ago, where we were getting all these really cool, unique zombie titles that had these new, unique spins on them. And I was really impressed with this one. I remember giving this one like a 4.5 out of 5 on Letterboxd. So I was really impressed. I thought the twists were fantastic. I thought that the story overall, like where it ended up, it was really smart and impactful and emotionally resonant. I was absolutely, I absolutely fell for all of the twists that happened, because I was not expecting them in the slightest when they happened. It just felt so unique to me. So yeah, Die Alone, one that absolutely nobody has mentioned. Next up, I'm going to talk about a movie that probably is the most talked about film on this list, and was definitely being seen a lot when it very first dropped, but I didn't see it on like almost anyone's lists except for, I think, Beyond the Void. Alex from Beyond the Void Horror podcast, he put it, I think is his number one. He fucking loves this movie, but it's The Coffee Table, which is like, subject matter wise, one of, if not the darkest film of the year. I think that this got the movie unjust hate because a lot of like gore hounds and shock film fanatics kind of flock towards this because the movie has such a dark premise. It really affected some of the viewers that saw it early on, um, people who aren't completely desensitized to film. And because of that, it made a lot of people, I think, feel that they were going to go see some shock film, gore for gore's sake, over the top kind of stuff. And that's not what this film is at all. It's just that the subject matter, what's happening within the film, is very dark. So I feel like the movie, it had a surge of popularity for like a minute, and then because a lot of people were disappointed in what they had assumed the movie was going to be about, they didn't allow the movie to be what it actually was, which is a fantastic film. It's one of the most tense, anxiety inducing films ever, if you aren't super desensitized, as I said. And I think it's a fantastic film, and definitely one that a lot of people overlooked, either A, because they thought it was going to be too much for them, or B, because they heard that it wasn't enough for what they thought it might be, but I think it's something you should absolutely check out. It's more of like a tense, drama thriller, like somebody finding themselves in the worst possible predicament imaginable and feeling the tension of that. So I don't know. I thought it was phenomenal. I think it's a fantastic film. It could have made my top 10 of the year for sure. So I really hope more people check it out. And I really hope that people don't put these like expectations on it that the film, it doesn't really warrant having. Um, so yeah, anyway. Next up is a movie that I praised to the heavens when it came out as a very unique indie film. And I got like every YouTuber that I knew on YouTube to watch it and review it. And this was Low Lifes. And then it kind of just didn't get talked about much again from there on. So if for some reason you happen to miss Low Lives, it is a Tubi original. It is free currently, still on Tubi. It should be for the rest of Tubi's existence. I think this is a really fun twist of a film, and that's all I'll say on the matter. But I really enjoyed the hell out of this. I thought it was a really good time. So I can't really talk much about the film, and I'm kind of trying to keep things fairly vague here, and hope to just kind of prod you to go check them out. But yeah. Anyways, next up, we got a movie called Broken Bird, another movie I did not hear almost anyone discussing. Kaylee and I both were big fans of this one. One of my more, uh, I don't know. That's tough, man. There was so many great performances in 2024. It's kind of overwhelming. Like I saw a, you know, a collection of all of these different, a collage of all these different like faces throughout the year of great performances within horror. Some were doing just women, some were throwing in men like Hugh Grant in Heretic, and Kyle Gallner in Strange Darling, and Nicolas Cage in Longlegs, and there's a lot. I mean, there's plenty more guys. There's so many women, and one I never saw ever was this girl in Broken Bird, and she was one of the standouts in a year of standouts. I mean, I could probably name 25 performances off the top of my head from females that were all phenomenal in the horror genre. So this was one I feel that should be talked about alongside of. This deals with kind of almost like a Lydia Dietz-esque, uh, you know, dark girl who works at a morgue, and she kind of reminds me a bit of like an Angela Bettis. When she was in May or something. She's a very quirky, weird girl, and she's having this like romance in her head with this guy, and I thought it was a really cool movie, very awkward film, Saint Maud esque in that way. So definitely hope people check this one out. I hope everybody checks out every one of these movies, but I don't know. I just there's so many films like this that come out every year that they don't make my top 10. I don't know even know where this would sit, having watched 298 films. Um, it's always hard to like think of where I would put these, but I I really enjoyed like probably 60, 70 films this year, and these are the ones that I felt like just got zero attention, and I probably could make a second list, another 10 films that I feel completely got overlooked, and I have more lists coming from this year for sure. When I watch this many, I might as well make them, and if you can think of something, let me know, a list that you would like to see from 2024. Next up is the newest film that I watched on here, which is Deus I Irae, Irae. I don't know how to say this. Um, but this is an Argentinian film, and this just has the coolest visuals that no one talked about. Now, granted, the film was just released, like at the very end of 2024. So I don't expect a lot of talk on this one. It is on Screenbox, but because it's December of 2024 and a lot of people are now going to be like, all right, time to move on to 2025, they may not even bother with this one. Some people don't care. They'll watch it from any year, but there are horror fans who are more of like, I'm trying to watch new things. I'm trying to stick to the new things. I guess I just missed that one, and it is what it is. But we caught it right at the tail end, and it is a wild film. It makes no sense. The plot line is all over the place. You are going to be so confused by the film, but it is a straight horror film, and there are so many wild, crazy looking visuals in the movie that I think that alone is makes it worth your time. Kaylee did not enjoy it as much as I did, but man, I had a really damn good time with it. So I definitely hope that if you are into like exorcism movies and really evil, kind of blasphemous imagery, and something that's unique, that really packs in this like horror punch to it with its visuals, it should be one that you don't miss. So uh yeah. Another one completely opposite here. This one is super silly, super goofy. I laughed a lot during this. This was the movie I did not ever expect to happen, and nor did I expect it to be what it was and for that to work. And this is the Adult Swim's Yule Log 2 Branching Out. What a title. This was a parody of Hallmark movies presented as an Adult Swim horror film. Should that work? Probably not. Should there be a sequel to a like hidden horror film within a Yule log video from a couple years ago. The fact that we got that at all is kind of crazy to me. The fact that it got a sequel is even crazier, and the fact that the sequel is a Hallmark movie parody and somehow works really damn well and is super funny, and features characters like Birthday Card and Christmas Card. I I just had such a fun time watching this. It's on HBO Max, and I definitely think that if you have a sense of humor and you like to watch movies parody other films, I think it was a damn good time. So there you go. Next up, I honestly don't know if I'm the only person that saw this movie last year. Um, I don't know where you can get it right now. This is probably why, but man, did I love this film, and I can't wait to watch it again. And this is The Train of Death. This is an Indonesian horror film set on a train. I'm a big train, horror on trains sucker, with Horror Express being my favorite horror movie on a train. But I have a whole plethora of titles like Beyond the Door 3, A Mock Train, and Train with Thora Birch, and Terror Train with Jamie Lee Curtis, and the list goes on. I'm a sucker for train films, and this one is gory and it's ridiculous. It's over the top. It's like very Indonesian, but in the best ways. um, I thought that there was just so much going on in this film, and so much of it was super entertaining. And I am so bummed that no one besides myself, I literally haven't talked to a single person who's seen it, not one. And I was praising it when it first came out, and I was really kind of like looking around for someone I knew. Yes, you can find reviews online, but those aren't people I know that I've talked to. Like, I did not see a single person I know review it. I did not see a single person I know watch it. And this is one. So this will probably come out in 2025, maybe. I honestly don't even remember how I watched it at this point. Pretty sure my buddy had a copy, and I thought it was like available to everybody. So I watched it, and lo and behold, obviously I was incorrect, because still I've not seen anybody mention it. But I had such a good time. So keep your eye out for it for sure when it comes out. Another one that I don't know if this got released or not. Um, I'd have to look to see if it ever got a release, but we got sent a screener for it, and it was early on last year, and we were told it was getting released. And definitely keep your eye out for it if you're into these types of films. But it's a movie called Somnium, which deals with people in this like sleep clinic, and this girl works there overnights, and it's a dream movie. um and it's like an indie horror that you never know when when our characters are asleep or awake, and like what's going on. And I felt it was a really damn good movie for what it was, like for the fact that it was like a small indie. um I had a really good time with it. But yeah, the, these are these almost feel unfair, because I feel like no one's had access to them. But then I look, and some of the people that I follow on Letterboxd have Somnium rated. So maybe they were also sent screeners, and that's how they saw it. But this is one I hope that you guys will get to see in 2025. Now, lastly, number 10, a film that I absolutely praised to the heavens, and once again got as many people as I could to watch it, but not enough. Not enough. I can't make a list talking about films that people should have watched in 2024 without throwing this in for sure. This was my favorite found footage film of 2024. It almost made my list. It almost made my top 10. It was actually on there for a minute, and then it got taken off right before we started recording. Like right before. So this was really close. And this is Curry Barker's Milk and Cereal. Um, I love this. I thought this was such an excellent short found footage horror film. It comes in at like 50 some odd minutes. But Curry Barker's performance in this, I went and got really obsessive with his horror stuff. I watched all of his shorts. I watched a decent amount of his comedy, which I really enjoy as well. But I think the guy has a great understanding of horror. And I think he's a great actor. I think he does such a great, like, protagonist slash antagonist where you're kind of split in the opening of like, I don't know what to make of this guy. He's very charming, he's very funny, he's charismatic, but he's got a screw loose, and you can see it, and you're just wrestling back and forth on like, should I like this guy? I don't know if I trust this guy, right? So uh and I thought him and you know, his counterpart, they do some really great stuff together. I think this is a very clever film. I think this is super well written. This proves that you do not need a budget. You just need a good script and, you know, talented people to deliver that script. So this is the way you make a found footage film. This is such a standout. You know, Late Night with the Devil would be like my second favorite found footage film of the year. But you know, taking nothing away from Late Night, because I think Late Night is great, seeing a comedic duo like these guys tackle something so dark on their channel and be so successful with it was a treat, right? As a wannabe independent filmmaker who, you know, my 2025 goal is to write a script. I started working on it today in my head, and I'm gonna sit down. I'm actually gonna take time off. I'm not gonna watch as much shit, and I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna try to write something and get it produced, get it made. That's my goal. Seeing someone who has a YouTube channel like me, you know, just do it. Actually get his shit together. No procrastination, no making up excuses. Just, you know, having the drive, having the ambition, and actually delivering on that. Actually having the talent to deliver not only a product but a great one at that. So, you know, and then he releases it for free on his channel, where it is right now, and it was praised by tons of people. But more people need to see it. I'm not going to ever not throw this on a list of, like, you know, overlooked gems of the 2020s that needs to be viewed. Support indie horror, support Curry and his horror filmmaking. You know, I think the guy is super talented. I can't wait to see what he has coming next. He said he's working on something big when he commented on the video. So yeah, there you go. There's 10 more overlooked films from 2024 that I think that you should seek out, either now or when they become more readily available to you. So you let me know, which ones did you see? Which ones did you like? Which ones did you not? Which ones are you looking forward to? Which ones can you not find? Let me know about Train of Death and Somnium. Those are the two that I'm kind of unclear of where they are at, but I did get to see them and I did quite enjoy the hell out of them. And let me know when you watch any of these. All right. I'll see you in the comments. Adios.